place, I think. Come around through Church, up Woodham Hill, and got a misfire. Anything over sort of 4,500 revs, it was misfiring. Oh, that's okay, it's not misfire, but it was. And I carried on for about another two or three laps, but every time I went over 4,500 revs, it just misfired. So we stopped the car, brought it in, we've cleaned the plugs, the distributor cap, everything we can think of. We'll see, we're going to go out again and see what happens.
It's in the lap of the gods for race 2, is it?
Lap of gods to Thruxton, yes, yeah.
In terms of this track, is it a track that you enjoy?
I live a mile from here.
So I'd say that's a yes, is it?
Yeah. I love the track. Church is a bit weird now because they've put that runoff, so it looks like a proper racetrack now, rather like a managed one rather than the old school as it was. But yeah, it's a great track. I love it. Yeah.
How long have you been racing here?
This is my 4th season of racing. This is my 2nd race this year because unfortunately I had a bike accident during lockdown, broke my collarbone and couldn't race. And we bought this car during lockdown. I think it was about middle of July or so. We just bought it because I didn't have a race car, so we bought it. And then we had Jake Hill and Dave Hickton drove in the Classic Sports Car Club around here.
Yeah, you told me a little bit about this just before we came on air, but I just wanted to talk through the car a little bit. It's an absolutely beautiful bit of kit, mate. It's obviously a fairly new purchase by yourself. What do you like about it?
It's just simple. I've got a pair of carbs on it, 48 Del Autos. Just makes a great growly sound. It's got 200 horsepower, weighs 900 kilos, and it's just good fun. It's just good fun. That's all I can say about it. It's just an easy to drive car, very forgiving, and does nothing stupid. And that's, I think, why we've qualified in. I think we qualified 3rd this morning.
2nd row, yeah.
Because it's just, you just get on it straight away. It's not a problem.
And the thinking behind the number 666?
The idea was...
Should we really fear you out on the track?
No. The idea was that back when I started racing, I thought, well, how can you get a commentator to talk about you? I'm going to be one of the slowest people on the track starting racing, so I put a number on it. They'll say, oh, what's that number? And that's how it started.
And here we are now.
Yeah.
Don't need the excuse of the number, hey?
No.
Well, Ian, we wish you all the very best of luck with race number 2. Hopefully it's all good for you.
Well, we'll try. That's all we can do. All right, thank you.
And the paddock, Rod, really, Rod, it was a tough race one for you. I know it was all going so well for you up until a point. Talk us through it.
Yes, didn't qualify very well. I was back in 9th on the grid. We had a lot of problems with aquaplaning this morning. We had the car set a little bit too stiff because it was a last-minute decision to bring this car. We were going to bring a BMW, but we might have a possible head gasket issue with it. We're not sure. But so yeah, this was a last-minute decision, and we didn't really alter anything on it. We went out and then realised how wet it was, so did a lot of adjustment for the race and was quite happy. Sort of got away, got up into 3rd, watching the 2 leaders, and I thought, well, it's a 20-minute race, let's pace ourselves. I could then see that gaining on them, particularly through Church and up Woodham Hill, past the Jag, past the BMW. Thought that's okay. Then I saw another BMW coming up in my mirrors, and I thought, better get my finger out, and unfortunately I had a bit of a clash with a back marker. I don't know whether he didn't see me or what, but the trouble is around here, you've got to keep the momentum going, and going into the complex, he went one side, I went the other, but then as we hit the apex of the next corner, I suddenly felt an almighty whack in the side, which unfortunately dislodged the front wheel. I thought it was just a puncture, but it actually damaged the wheel, and so within a lap I knew there was a problem, and unfortunately retired, which means I'm at the back of the grid for the next race.
You've done it once, we'll have to do it again. Talk us through the car heading into race 2. I know you've been doing some running repairs, got another wheel on there, all good to go for race 2.
Yeah, we're lucky today because Stuart Day, who does a lot of help with us on Ford stuff, he's the Mr. Escort of the sort of Hampshire area and has a lot of bits. He helped. We had the spares with us, luckily, and Barry, who comes to all the meetings with me, we had the stuff ready almost before the race had finished, so yeah, we've got that fixed. We're now just debating on which tyres to use, because
all eyes to the sky.
Yes, we have made a couple of bad calls this year on tyres. I always try and be brave and be one of the first to go onto slicks, but the last time I did that, which funny enough was in the BMW, it wasn't the right move. But Thruxton's a different circuit, it's very abrasive. Brands Hatch now tends to, this time of the year, stay a bit greasy. I made the right choice last week when we were there, but different circuit, different day. Don't know.
Well, hopefully we'll speak to you at the end of the race where we talk about what a good tyre choice you made in the end. Best of luck for the race, Ron.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, welcome back to our coverage from here at Thruxton Race Circuit in Hampshire with the British Automobile Racing Club. And thank you for your patience, ladies and gents, during an enforced, quite considerable delay due to a serious accident in our first truck race of the day. I can tell you that there are no serious injuries from the two separate major incidents that we saw on the first lap of the truck race. All drivers got out. Tom O'Rourke was taken to the medical centre for a check-up, but thankfully no serious injuries. And we are shortly going to get back underway and racing, so we'd like to say full credit, well done to all the marshals and technical staff here at Thruxton. We'll see what happened. This is going into the complex for the first time. Watch for Tom O'Rourke up the inside. He got onto the grass, couldn't slow the truck, hits John Newell, and then straight into and over the barriers. A horrendous accident. And a very lucky escape for everyone who was down there. Then one corner later, Rick Collett lost it on the grass, and just as big an impact with the barriers, and over goes the 95 truck. Two very, very big accidents indeed. Thankfully, Rick Collett, veteran truck racer, was straight out of his truck and was okay. Giving us a wave there. And thankfully, no serious injuries resulting from that one. But we are now ready to resume racing. Our second race, which will be the Classic Touring Cars, their second race of the day. The front row will be Martin Ellis. No, it's Matthew Ellis, I think, in the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus this time. Martin was in race 1. Andy Thompson we didn't see in the first race. Hopefully he will make it out for race 2. Ian Knight and David Griffin in the Golf and the BMW on the second row. Then we've got Tom Robinson's Jaguar, Yusuf Osman's BMW, Malcolm Harding in his Mark II Escort, and Brian Branson in his BMW, the winner of race 1 on the fourth row. Rod Burley's Escort Cosworth, Bob Bullen in his Lotus Cortina on row 5. The sixth row, Mike Luck's BMW, Tony Paxman's Escort. Seventh row, Eddie O'Kane and Stuart Kay. Row 8, Alex Thistlethwaite with the Ford Mustang, Tom Abbott in the Capri, Trevor Kiffin and Alan Hersey, Alfa Romeo and Reliance. Richard Ibrahim's BMW alongside Anton Martin's Escort, and Tony Palmer will round out the grid in his Lotus Cortina. This will be a handicap race once again. As we saw earlier on, it was Brian Branson who won the first race on scratch and on handicap. Heading out to the grid then, there is Matthew Ellis in the gorgeous Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. And once again, we must say a huge well done and thank you to the marshalling and maintenance teams here at Thruxton who have repaired the extensive barrier damage after that incident at the complex in the truck race. The trucks are back in the paddock for now. They are scheduled to have a race later on, and we will wait to see if that takes place. The first truck race, I believe, has been abandoned, but further news will be forthcoming. But the main thing is no serious injuries to either drivers or bystanders from that incident. We're ready to go racing once again. Looks like again, sadly, Andy Thompson's Seat Leon is not there, so there'll be just one car on the front row, and that will be the Talbots. Ian Knight failed to finish race 1 in his VW Golf, but the car to watch, Rod Burley in his Ford Escort Cosworth. Another retirement while fighting for the lead of race 1. And of course, we've got to look for the winner on handicap as well as the winner on the road. It was Brian Branson who took the win on both counts in race 1. And we'll see if he can do so again here. Matthew Ellis competes with his dad Martin in the normally in the Advantage Motorsport Future Classic Series for 70s and 80s cars run by the Classic Sports Car Club. Tom Robinson, leading light in the Jaguar Saloon Series run by the Jaguar Enthusiasts Club in much the biggest car out there. Yusuf Osman behind him in his lovely E30 BMW. Great to see such a mix of cars of different ages and sizes out there. They normally run in separate championships. The Classic Touring Car Racing Club, the Pre-66, Pre-83 Group 1 touring cars, Pre-93, Pre-03. the Blue Oval Saloon Series and Classic Thunder Saloons as well. It was Andy Robinson's awesome Ford Falcon that took the Classic Thunder Saloon Championship this year. Sadly not here this weekend. Circuit much drier, you can see, as that we saw earlier on. There's Richard Ibrahim's BMW. So up to the grid they come then. There's a couple of cars into line at the back. I think with the exception of Andy Thompson, we've got a full complement. Still waiting the all clear from the marshals then. Green flag waves. It'll be one last green flag lap before we get this one underway. And as they come through the complex here, you'll be able to see the barrier repairs that have been affected. It's on the outside of Campbell Corner. Following that frightening shunt in the first truck race. Nothing Tom O'Rourke could do there, sadly. Just got onto the grass and couldn't slow the truck down on the wet grass. Let's hope for no further incidents in our touring cars. We've got the Monoposto Tiedemann Trophy as well. Just had an update through on the championship standings in the Monoposto Tiedemann Trophy, so we'll bring those to you when we get round to their race. It's going to be close to their points, certainly. First of all, we concentrate on saloon cars. This will be, as we say, a handicap race. Handicap determined by the officials. Rod Burley, the man to watch in the Escort Cosworth, I reckon. Saw what he can do in race one, till the car let him down. Matthew Ellis on pole then in the Talbot Sunbeam Lotus. No Andy Thompson on the outside, the front row. Second row, Ian Knight in the Golf. David Griffin in the BMW. Then Tom Robinson and Yusuf Osman on row 3. There is one gap there. We're missing Tony Paxman's Escort. He's not out. Thought there was somebody missing there. The green flag waves then at the back of the lineup. All clear from the marshals, and off they go. Down towards the first corner. Much better start from the Talbot. Good start by the Jag as well there. Tom Robinson trying to come through on the inside, but Matthew Ellis with a much quicker start than we saw from the Talbots in race one in the hands of Martin Ellis, and away they go towards the complex. Yusuf Osman's got away well too in the E30 BMW as they head into the sunset here at Thruxton. Through the complex, it's Ellis that leads, Osman in second place, Tom Robinson's Jaguar in third position. Seagrave for the first time. The Talbot's headlights ablaze leads the way. It's David Griffin in fourth place, and Rod Burley using the superior traction of the Escort already up into fifth position. Palmer at the back in the Lotus Cortina, but he could still win this on handicap. So waiting for them to come round for the first time. Then the car's given credit laps. I can tell you Tony Palmer's been given 4 credit laps. Bob Bullen, Anton Martin, Trevor Kiffin and Alan Hersey have all got 3 as Robinson passes Yusuf Osman there. Then O'Kane, Ellis, Ibrahim, Kay, Abbott, Luck, Thistlethwaite, Osman and Knight have all got 2 credit laps. Robinson, Griffin and Harding have all got 1. Bransom and Burley starting from scratch with no credit laps given. So that's how the handicappers have worked it out going into this one, as Yusuf Osman falls back behind David Griffin there on the run up Woodham Hill into the club chicane. So effectively Tony Palmer is leading by a full lap even before the start of the race because of the system of credit laps given out to try and even the grid up. That's how handicapping works here, and we'll see how it all works out as the race goes on. They're effectively playing catch up, all the other cars are, in terms of the credit laps given. So once everybody's crossed the line, we'll be able to work out the order on handicap once the times start to come in. But leading on the road as they complete the first lap is Matthew Ellis, so he's obviously got the fastest lap of the race. He's got Tom Robinson's big Jag behind him there, the XJR. So effectively Tony Palmer has already completed 5 laps, and the idea is it all evens up as the race goes on. There goes Rod Burley. Bit of smoke. Is that spray or smoke from the back of the Escort there? Keep an eye on that. Don't tell me Rod Burley's having problems again already. So Tony Palmer is the race leader on handicap at the moment. On scratch, it's Matthew Ellis leading the way on the road ahead of Tom Robinson and David Griffin. This unusual format. The power of the Jag should tell here in these drier conditions as they run up towards Woodham Hill through Church Corner. Talbot has the lead at the moment. The big Jag in second place. Here comes Tom Robinson now up alongside. He takes the lead. I knew it wouldn't be long before the Jag used its power. Look at the way it's pulling away from Matthew Ellis here. So Tom Robinson looking to take the win on the road at least. The Talbot does close up under braking though. David Griffin in third place. Rod Burley's fourth. He's got ahead of Brian Bransom. They're the 2 drivers starting with no credit laps in this one. Then we have got the 2 Castrol livery cars. Yusuf Osman's BMW, Malcolm Harding in that lovely Zack Speed Mark II Escort. He'll be wanting to keep his nose clean ahead of the special saloons at Mallory Park tomorrow. Of course, here we've got the open sports and saloon cars. We've got a few cars staying on to race tomorrow. David Griffin's booked in to race tomorrow. Also Brian Bransom. Ian Knight's Golf as well, and Andy Thompson. But looks like his car is done for the weekend, sadly. Another car to look out for tomorrow will be the VW Golf TCR of Jamie Sturgis, a very quick driver, lives locally to Thruxton. There's Brian Bransom moving through the order in the BMW now, but still the leader on handicap is Tony Palmer ahead of Bob Bullen, the 2 Lotus Cortinas on corrected times. Anton Martin is third on handicap, then Trevor Kiffin and then Alan Hersey. So it's these slower cars that have been given more credit laps still there on handicap, and the quicker cars have to catch them up. A format not very often seen in British club racing these days. As we said earlier, it's normally vintage car racing, the likes of the Vintage Sports Car Club and the Bentley Drivers Club that run handicap races. Certainly something a bit different to finish off the season from the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. Tom Robinson leads the way on the road at the moment in the Big Cat, the Jaguar XJR. There's Malcolm Harding going well in the Escort ahead of Yusuf Osman's BMW E30. Used to do a lot of his racing down at the Linden Hill circuit in deepest Kent. Appears regularly at Brands Hatch as well, the man from the southeast. There's Tom Abbott going well as well in the Ford Capri, the Labatt's liveried car. Of course made famous in touring cars by the likes of Tim Harvey and Lawrence Bristow. There's Matthew Ellis in the Talbot. In fact, he's got back ahead of the Jaguar, I missed that. Talbot the more nimble handling car. So it's those 5 clear at the front of the field. Malcolm Harding 6th on the road. Yusuf Osman is 7th. Then we have got Tom Abbott. So that's the order on the road at the moment. It's still Palmer leading the way on handicap, but he's at the back of the field on race order. So he's last and first at the same time. Tony Palmer in the Lotus Cortina. We need to look at where the other drivers are up to in the race order. Well, Matthew Ellis is 10th. on Handicap at the moment. And look at this for second place. Here comes Rod Burley up onto the back of the BMW of David Griffin now, the Australian. Straight past him on Wooden Hill up into third place. Such a menacing looking car, that Escort Cosworth. You don't want to see it in your mirror, because you won't be able to hold it off for long. It's such a powerful machine. He has had a lot of reliability problems with it though this year, as we saw in race 1. Oh, the Jag slowing. Problems for Tom Robinson. He's pulling off. That's a great shame. The big cat is out of the race. Pulls off at the marshal's post there. Yellow flag out. That's end of game for Tom Robinson, unfortunately. So Tony Palmer still leads on Handicap. Leading the race on the road, it is Matthew Ellis in the Talbot. So that's put Rod Burley up into second place on the road. Brian Bransom's BMW is third, the race 1 winner. Then David Griffin's BMW. They've just gone through our shot there. So the first 4 fairly well clear now. Rod Burley going for the win on the road here. He and Bransom, you can see they're still ranked at the bottom of the times on the graphics there, because they started with no credit laps. They've got to make up the order here. Still Palmer from Bullen by 50 seconds on Handicap at the moment, from according to my timing screen. Trevor Kiffin is now third on Handicap in the Alfa Romeo, but this is the order on the road. Ellis, Burley catching him all the time. Try and compare the lap times from these two. Rod Burley's just last time through did a 1:28. Let's see what his lap time is this time through. They go over the line. 1:27.609 for Rod Burley. Matthew Ellis did a 1:28.832, so he's closing the gap down. There go the BMWs, Bransom and Griffin. There's Anton Martin about to be lapped by Matthew Ellis. But of course, Anton Martin with those credit laps, they're catching the slower runners up, and effectively that's making up position. So it's the 10th place. So what we've got there is effectively the 10th place car and the 17th place car overtaking the 5th place car for position. I hope you're following this, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm struggling. But no, full credit to the Classic Touring Car Racing Club for trying something different. Even if it is a little confusing to work out, as we don't see this format very often. Those who have watched my Speedway commentaries in the past will know that mathematics has never been my strong point. There's Anton Martin. He's got one of the Lotus Cortinas behind him. So Tony Palmer still leads on Handicap, but Bob Bullen is closing on him on corrected time. Trevor Kiffin third in the Alfa Romeo. There's Martin in the Escort. He's let's see where he's running on Handicap. We'll have to wait for him to cross the line to find out, because there is the leader on Handicap, number 2, Tony Palmer. A classic shape of Colin Chapman's brainchild, the Lotus Cortina. Really the first saloon car created with racing in mind. First homologation special. No match in a straight line for Malcolm Harding's Escort there, though. 3 Fords of differing generations together. Still leading on the road, on Handicap, on scratch rather, is Matthew Ellis, chased by Burley. Third is Brian Bransom, and then we've got David Griffin. We've got just over 10 minutes of the race to go, so coming up to halfway. Handicap order still Palmer, Bullen, Kiffin, Alan Hersey, but Alex Thistlethwaite now pops up in third place with the Ford Mustang, so he's going well. There's Alan Hersey's Reliance Scimitar being passed by the leaders, and Rod Burley's really pushing on now to try and get ahead of Matthew Ellis. There is nothing more Rod Burley loves than winning races. Here he comes, he's up alongside Matthew Ellis now, goes through, and we have a new leader on the road. So there's the Escort, your race leader, coming into the complex. Matthew Ellis closing up under braking. Look at this from Matthew Ellis. That's a cheeky little move by the Talbot there. He's not letting Rod Burley get away. Don't tell me Burley's in trouble again. Now he's taken the lead. Now as soon as they hit the straight, look, the Escort starts to pull away, but there is a little bit of smoke there. I've seen that from the start. May just be a bit of smoke on the overrun from the turbo on the Escort Cosworth. He leads the way then from Ellis. Still on handicap, it's Palmer from Bullen, but the gap is coming down between the two of them. There's Tony Palmer. There's Yusuf Osman in among this group. He's running 10th on handicap. Alan Hersey with the lovely Reliant Scimitar there. Oh, Trevor Kiffin runs off-road at the complex, the Alfa Romeo 75. He's third on handicap though. Behind him, Richard Ibrahim. He's further down in about 10th place. As we say, we'll have to wait till everybody's taken the checkered flag before we can determine the race order. Rod Burley's got one of the Lotus Cortinas ahead of him there. Blue flag waves to let the slower car down. Oh, look at Brian Branson coming up now, starting to launch his attack. He's got past Ellis, up into second on the road. And now starting to attack Rod Burley's escorts. He wants a second win on the road here, Brian Branson. He overcame the handicap in race 1 to win on both handicap and scratch. But Matthew Ellis fighting back. In the sharp turns, that Talbot is so much stronger than the more powerful saloons ahead of it. There's David Griffin further back in 4th on the road, 13th on handicap. Just over 7.5 minutes to go. Leaders are up at the complex. Still Palmer from Bullen, then Alan Hersey I think is third now on handicap. Just wait to see where Trevor Kiffin slots in. Of course, the handicap formula might have been revised by the handicappers in the paddock in light of the race 1 results. Matthew Ellis right on the limit there as he throws the Talbot round the quick back of the circuit. Scored their first ever wet race victory last week at Castle Combe, winning the 70s split in the Future Classics. Brian Branson is closing down Rod Burley here. What were their last lap times? Let's have a look. Branson did a 1:26.6, Burley did a 1:28.4, so Brian Branson is closing here. He's competed with the BMW Racing Drivers Club in their championship in the past, Brian Branson, trying something new this weekend. And he is putting pressure on Rod Burley here. There's Stuart Kay with the Ford Capri, the triplex car, chased by Eddie O'Kane. And the leaders on the road coming up to pass them here. Stuart Kay and Eddie O'Kane running 11th and 12th in the race order. Tony Palmer still leads on handicap in the Lotus Cortina. These two battling back markers ahead of him here, Rod Burley, Eddie O'Kane in the O'Kane Irish Foods Hyundai Coupe, trying to get out the way. He's done so. As the leaders go through the middle there, also passing Stuart Kay, the club chairman, in his Ford Capri. Rod Burley still holds on ahead of Brian Branson. It's here where the BMW is the marginally stronger up Woodham Hill. Can he get him into the chicane this time? 5.5 minutes, near enough of the race to go. Still time for things to change. Just the one retirement so far, Tom Robinson's Jaguar pulled up on the start-finish straight. And now Branson is right with Burley as they come through the club chicane. Ford against BMW for the lead on the road. They pass the stranded Jaguar. Tony Palmer still has that cushion on handicap. There's Alan Hersey. Going well in the handicap standings. More back markers will be ahead for the leaders shortly. Here's a battle between Anton Martin, Tony Palmer, the handicap race leader, and Ian Knight in the Golf. There's the other Lotus Cortina, that's Bob Bullen. He's got the more modern Ford of Malcolm Harding on his tail. Leaders right together now, and they've got back markers ahead again, but on the quicker sweeps of the back of the circuit. Through Noble. Burley's got through. Oh, Branson briefly lost time there. He got boxed in behind Tony Palmer's Lotus Cortina. I don't think Tony saw him there. Blue flag wave for Ian Knight in the race truck Golf. He moves aside. Oh, and a spin there. Mike Luck has lost it. Oh, that's not where you want to lose it. Coming out of Church Corner. So Mike Luck, hopefully he can rejoin there. Mike Luck, that's a scary place to lose it coming out of Church Corner, the fastest part of any racetrack in the UK. And Mike Luck has got it going again. Thankfully nobody hit him there. That beautiful E21 BMW, the Pre-83 Group 1 champion this year. Finally beating multiple champion Stephen Primet to the title. Stephen will be back with his Mark 1 Escort last year. Unfortunately had a crash in the final round at Silverstone. 3.5 minutes to go. Palmer from Bullen, still the Lotus Cortinas on top on Handicap. There are the leaders, still Burley ahead. He's got Alex Thistlethwaite in the Ford Mustang ahead of him. Mustang, a big car to handle in slippery conditions like this. He moves aside, lets the leaders through. Tom Abbott still going strong in the Ford Capri. He's 5th in the handicap standings at the moment. Brian Branson has closed back up on Rod Burley, and he's going to try again to try and get ahead of the escorts through towards Church Corner. Here they come. Burley's actually pulled away a little bit through Church there towards Woodham Hill. Is the BMW going to close up under braking? He's not going to be close enough to make a move on Rod Burley. Through the chicane. Couple of laps to go. Fastest lap of the race has been recorded by Rod Burley, a 1:25.573 last time around. So he's starting to respond to the pressure from Brian Branson. They're still ranked lowest in the times though, you can see there. And well, Mike Luck spun again. He's on the infield this time. Autograss anyone? For the BMW, the ex-Clubman's sports car racer. Still Tony Palmer that leads the way in the Lotus Cortina. Oh, Alex Thistlethwaite has pulled into the pits. The Mustang was 3rd on Handicap, but he's out of the race by the look of things. So the Ford Mustang is in the pit lane. That could give Yusuf Osman a chance to move up into 3rd place. Yusuf has certainly put in a useful performance here with that BMW. Blue flag out for Alan Hersey's Reliance and Richard Ibrahim there, the BMW. In the closing stages now, it'll be last lap this time for Rod Burley. The escort has survived the distance this time. Look out, Alan Hersey, there's a BMW coming up on you. Brian Branson lost some ground there, you can see. At least his bonnet's staying in one place this time. And there's been a change for the lead on Handicap as well at the moment. Bob Bullen is showing on top of the timing, as you can see there on the graphics in his Lotus Cortina. It may be this that Tony Palmer hasn't crossed the line to begin his next lap. But with less than a minute on the clock, we are on the last lap of the race now. Of course, the checkered flag will go out not when the leader on the road crosses the line. It goes out as soon as the clock counts down to 0, because this is a handicap race. Leaders on scratch out of the complex. Branson, I don't think he's going to catch Burley here. Eddie O'Kane sideways in the Hyundai. Is he flashing his lights at our camera there? Showing off for the cameras, Mr. O'Kane. Competitor in the Hyundai Coupe Cup in the past. And Brian Branson is closing up. He's going for the inside on the back of the circuit there towards Church Corner. That's brave. Attacking Rod Burley. Is he going to get through here? They're coming up towards Church Corner now. Burley's held it. This is going to be close between these two for the win on scratch. But it's still Tony Palmer. He's back ahead on Handicap now. I think it's going to be one of the Lotus Cortinas. Yeah, the checkered flag has just gone out. So we'll see who's going to take the win on handicap. Will it be Bullen or Palmer? Will it be Branson or Burley? Here they come round the outside. He's not going to get through there. Oh, this is going to be close. Over the curves goes Rod Burley. He's just going to win the sprint to the line, I think, between these two. Cracking race between those two. Burley takes the checker flag. He's first on scratch ahead of Brian Branson, but we'll see what the result is on handicap. It's going to be one of the two Lotus Cortinas. Will it be Bullen or will it be Palmer? We're going to wait for Tony Palmer to come home. There's Matthew Ellis across the line. We almost forgot about him making his way up the order on handicap. There goes Richard Ibrahim across the line. We can't give you any definite indication until everybody has come home. David Griffin across the line. So waiting for Tony Palmer to come in. We'll see if he has lost out to Bob Bullen. There's Trevor Kiffin across the line in the Alfa Romeo. He's dropped to 8th on handicap. Yusuf Osman went very well indeed, and across the line comes Palmer, and he hasn't overcome it. Bob Bullen takes the win in car number 1, so it's Bullen's Lotus Cortina who wins on handicap. So Bob Bullen, your winner on handicap provisionally, ahead of Tony Palmer. Yusuf Osman 3rd. 4th, Tom Abbott's Ford Capri. 5th is David Griffin. Ian Knight's Volkswagen Golf 6th. As the rest of them come home, I think everybody's in now. Matthew Ellis 7th on handicap. Eddie O'Kane 8th, just ahead of Malcolm Harding. We saw them together on the road in the closing stages. And Alan Hersey rounding out the top 10. Burley and Branson, despite that good battle, 16th and 17th on handicap. They were so busy battling each other, they didn't make up the handicap given by the credit laps. So a confusing format for the novice to follow, but an enjoyable race from the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. And it's Bob Bullen in his Lotus Cortina who takes the win on handicap. On scratch, it's Rod Burley. We will confirm the results as soon as we can. So thank you to the Classic Touring Car Racing Club. And we'll hopefully hear from both our winners, the scratch and handicap winners, down in the paddock. Well done to Bob Bullen. So no cars needing recovery after that one either, except Tom Robinson's Jaguar. So we should have the next race on soon, the Tiedemann Trophy. And we will confirm the results as soon as we can. But first we'll head down into the paddock with Steve.
Yeah, down here at Parc-Fermé. Bob, a great win for you there, the number 1 overall. Talk us through the race. It was all a bit crazy out there.
I'm not sure I did win, did I? What about the others?
Number 1 overall, that's what the handicap says, mate.
Really? You're joking?
I am certainly not joking.
Wow. Well.
I'm guessing that's news to your good self.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
Yeah, number 1 on your car and number 1 on the handicap overall. So the race wins. So delighted to break that news for you.
Oh,
how do you feel?
Brilliant, that's fantastic. Makes it all worthwhile.
Oh, lovely to hear it, mate. As I said, it certainly was all a bit hectic out there. It was all going crazy, cars swapping all over the place. Yeah. Talk us through the race.
I was out on my own most of the time. I had a good start again, like the first one. Got up to about 3rd, but they just swamped me, and that was it. I was left behind, but I had a pretty lonely race most of the time, but I was pushing and pushing. Yeah, I mean, the poor old car, they're a bit older than most of these things, well, all these things.
Well, that was it, wasn't it? The Cortinas did you so proud in this race in particular, and it just seemed to keep on plugging away and to keep eating up that track.
Yeah, I tried to put on a bit of a show for the for the corner men, hitting the curves hard and getting it up on two wheels, just to get them something to do and give me something to think about.
The conditions have certainly been interesting for us today.
Very
I mean,
interesting,
the difference between race 1 and 2 alone was pretty tough. How do you deal with it?
Well, we qualified quite well. We've got some different tyres. We're all cross-plies Dunlops. We have an L section for the wet, which are a little bit skinnier, and they got more treads on them, so they dissipate the water a bit better. And we qualified 10th, which out of this lot weren't bad. But then in the second race, when it started to dry a bit, they all started coming through, and that was it. But then we changed to these, because mainly I didn't want to wreck the other tyres. So we changed back to the M sections, and it was better, definitely on the dry, and we'd have destroyed the others.
Well, crazy race, a crazy result, and big congratulations.
Thank you very much. Unbelievable.
Okay, so we'll confirm the results then in a second of our classic touring cars. They read as follows. On Handicap, Bob Bullen takes the win in the Lotus Cortina, and it's a 1-2 for the Lotus Cortinas with Tony Palmer in second. 11.8 seconds separating them at the flag. Third on Handicap was Yusuf Osman's BMW ahead of Tom Abbott in the Capri. David Griffin taking fifth ahead of Ian Knight. Matthew Ellis, the early leader on Scratch, in seventh place ahead of Eddie O'Kane, Malcolm Harding and Alan Hersey. Then Trevor Kiffin, Stuart Kay, Richard Ibrahim, Mike Luck and Anton Martin. Rod Burley only 16th despite being the first car home on the road. So congratulations, Bob Bullen. Long-time classic Ford racer. Many times you've seen him out in a Ford Anglia before this Lotus Cortina. And he takes the Handicap victory. Next up, it will be the Risprise IT Tiedemann Trophy for the Monoposto Racing Club.